Hey gang, it's JC, and this is the Daily Dose for Friday, January 13th, 2012. Combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Clayton. We have television archives at the top of the page, our eye candy feature along the bottom. And by the way, on the radio station website, ktrs.com, maybe as early as today, we're going to have a tab that you're going to be able to go to and listen to highlights of previous shows. I mentioned this because we ran our conversation with Knuckles yesterday, the burglar here in St. Louis that pulled off about 3,000 jobs. He's in his 50s now, working for a security company. And the stories this guy told yesterday, people were just dumbfounded. I told you all week we were going to replay this thing from a couple of years back, and I told you I'm not overselling this. You know, people think that people are so used to hype on everything that when you're legitimately promoting something and saying, I'm serious, this is not overhyped, this is the real deal. And I think people have finally sort of caught on to the idea that I don't overhype stuff. If I hype something, it's for a legitimate reason. And yesterday was one of those instances. So anyhow, very soon, hopefully, maybe even before the weekend gets here, there's going to be a tab at the KTRS website where you're going to be able to click and listen to stuff, including Knuckles, and I'll let you know as soon as that is official. All right, our rock and roll poll question yesterday, Wednesday night at the People's Choice Awards. You had Johnny Depp winning for Best Movie Actor. Favorite comedy movie was Bridesmaids. Favorite female musical artist was Katy Perry. And our question was, are these choices generally in line with your tastes? And a whopping 70% of you said, hell no. And 30% of you said yes, which is even a little larger than I was anticipating, but you'll learn something every day. All right. You probably didn't even know it because it's buried on cable somewhere, but the Miss America pageant takes place this weekend. What are your general feelings about the Miss America pageant? Here are your choices. A, it's a wonderful American tradition showcasing some of the country's finest young women and giving them scholarship opportunities. B, while it might have been a big deal years ago, it looks a little awkward and silly now. C, it's a ridiculous embarrassment that in 2012 they're still parading women around like cattle as part of this charade. Or D, if I do even bother to watch, it's because I want to see if one of the girls slips and falls down or says something really stupid. Please answer it in the corner. It's our rock and roll poll question. We'll have results for you on Monday. Perhaps you got suckered into this show last night, the Critics' Choice Awards. You know, this is the award season, and you have some legitimate awards, like, there are not many, but there's a couple. Directors Guild, and of course the Oscars, even though the show stinks. The Golden Globes, it's like 90 people who make up the Foreign Press Association, and it's a really bogus bunch of people, and I mean incredibly bogus, but the show is good. The show is terrific, by the way. Ricky Gervais is going to host again. But you had this thing last night on VH1 called the Critics' Choice Awards. Now, you have to understand that, first of all, real, legitimate critics wouldn't be caught within 100 yards of this group. All year long, this group of people, the critics, which basically is the people who go on Hollywood junkets and have all their stuff paid for, their flights and their hotel rooms and their meals, and they get to interview all the stars, and it's a real PR machine. These people are, in essence, not even in essence, they're working for the movie studios to say good things about movies that stink most of the time. But this group of people will tell you that movies that are terrible are good. Every awful Adam Sandler alleged piece of junk comedy they'll call, you know, the picture of the year, the comedy of the year. They recommend every stupid Drew Barrymore and Reese Witherspoon romantic comedy that's neither romantic nor funny. Every dumb sequel that you know stinks before you even get into the movie theater, they recommend. And again, they're engaging in a formal transaction of recommendations and quotes for newspapers and commercials, and it's all in exchange for another free trip to Los Angeles in a fancy hotel with your meals paid for by the movie studios. And then at the end of the year, they have their big awards charade, and they hope that you have forgotten all those rotten movies that they had you waste your hard-earned money on all year long, and they hope that you forgot how mad you got after you wasted your Saturday night on a crappy movie that they told you to see. They put on an award show, and then suddenly, as if by some sort of miracle, they all come to their senses, and they, for one night, get serious about movies. So 11 months out of the year, they display not a trace of integrity, selling off their souls in exchange for these free trips and a free tote bag or a jacket or some sort of frisbee or movie tchotchke with a movie logo on it, and you end up being the sucker. I take my job as a movie critic very seriously. You know, I know what it's like to, you know, plan a Saturday night out. A lot of people, especially with the crummy economy, you don't get a lot of Saturday nights out. So, you know, you pick out a movie because you heard somebody said it was good. So you go out to dinner, you get a babysitter, the whole thing. You get in the movie, and 15 minutes in, you're looking at each other like, this is a piece of junk. I could kill that guy who told us that this was a good movie. I won't do that to you. I've never done that to you. And, you know, I don't know, long ago, a lot of people in the broadcast industry and these broadcast critics, and I could name names because there's a couple right here in St. Louis, long ago they lost their capacity to experience shame and embarrassment. I won't do that to you, okay? Which is why I tell you to go see the artist. Drop this aversion you have to the idea that, you know, somehow a silent black and white movie is not going to be of interest to you. It is one of the great movies of the year. It is one of the great romantic comedies of all time. It is just fabulous. Please go see the artist. Just see it. If you don't like it, call me up. I'll give you your money back. If you can find me. It'll be in Canadian coins. All right, football all weekend. If Tim Tebow loses, then that's going to be that, and this whole silliness with him is just going to be a footnote to the 2011 season. If he wins and beats Tom Brady and the New England Patriots in Foxborough, I'll be celebrating Mass at noon on the Big 550 KTRS on Monday. Speaking of football, Brett Favre's sister is being sued for messing up a house by cooking meth. It stunk so bad it messed up the neighbor's house. What did we say? Oh, yeah, Kelly Clarkson is going to sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl on February 5th. Presumably, she'll do better than Christina Aguilera, who flubbed the fourth line of the song. I didn't say it was an easy song, but if you're out there, you know, it's a Super Bowl. There's how many million people watching. Try to get it right. Stephen Colbert revealed his hyped major announcement on the Colbert Report last night. You know, the polls already showed him ahead of John Huntsman in South Carolina, and he isn't even running. Now, the problem is, in that political system, and they're all different in these primaries and caucuses and stuff, you can't write in a candidate, so it's all for naught. All right, what else we got here? Dancing with the Stars, allegedly interested in Michelle Bachmann or Herman Cain. They also want JWoww from Jersey Shore and also Tim Tebow. Story out of Bloomberg News today says David Letterman may be re-upping through 2014, which is interesting because Dave has said repeatedly that when this contract is up, that was going to be it, and it looks like he's going to be hanging around for a few more years. Still waiting on Jeff Fisher. Every day that goes on where there's no announcement out of Rams Park increases the inevitability of bad news for the St. Louis Rams organization. What's up with Heather Locklear? You know, she had a failed suicide attempt a while back, and now she's in the hospital again. Some sort of mixing of alcohol and prescription drugs. She's 50 now, and it's got to be hard to have lived basically your entire adult life as one of the most beautiful women in the world, and being told that all the time and being treated that way. And then you hit 50 and you start noticing that your looks are fading, and that has got to be tough. I'm not kidding either. That's got to be tough, and that's got to mess with your head. So. And let me just tell you something. What she doesn't know is at 50, she still looks better. She still looks better than 90% of the 30-year-olds on this planet. So somebody ought to tell her that. All right. CareerBuilder.com just released a list of the 10 most ridiculous excuses for being late to work. A couple of my favorites. A fox stole my keys. I'm late because I feel my commute time should count as work hours. And my favorite, I was late because I had a job interview with another company. Snoop Dogg launching his own line of cigars. The cigars are a perfect way for someone who wants to unwind after a long day of smoking weed. And Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie met with the president of the White House. There was an awkward moment when Malia walked in and Angelina tried to adopt her. Brad was excited too because it's been a while since he's seen a man in charge of anything. All right, what do we got here? What do we got? Oh, The Iron Lady opens today. This is Meryl Streep one of her all-time best performances, Margaret Thatcher. Part of the problem with a bunch of these biopics that have been coming out lately, and the J. Edgar movie with Leonardo DiCaprio as the former leader of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, the acting is fabulous, and he's just great in it, but the script and the storyline just really, really left something to be desired. In this particular case, you've got Meryl Streep. She is channeling Margaret Thatcher, and I'm not kidding. And the storyline is quite a bit better than most of the other stuff that's been coming out as far as these biopics. I would give this movie 4.5 out of 5 corks. 4.5 out of 5 for The Iron Lady, with Meryl Streep opening up this weekend. And did you know that in, I think it's 36 days, Pitchers and Catchers report down at Jupiter, Florida. They had Mike Matheny on, Cards manager Mike Matheny, and it was like, what? And then you realize, that's right, Matheny is the manager of the Cardinals now. It'll shake you up. All right, JC's Eye Candy today. It was just a couple of years ago that my pal Jill was an account executive over at Ennis Broadcasting, where I did the show with the U-Man and Laurie Mack and Carl and everything. She went on to become the owner of Jilly's, which won the Cupcake Wars thing on the Food Network the other day. So they had a party last night, and they're opening up another location, which isn't exactly like the one at 170 in Del Mar, but it's in Des Peres, and it's just across, just to the east of West County Mall. And they're going to have a brisket bar and all sorts of stuff like that. Sunday night at 7 o'clock on the Food Network, Jilly's is going to be defending its title, Chefs. Dana Holland and Casey Schiller are featured on this thing too. So if you want to see St. Louis being depicted very, very well, represented by Jilly's, right at 170 in Del Mar, and now next to the mall, starting in a week. You'll be able to see that. We have the video from the Food Network, the award-winning recipe that got them the championship of the whole thing last season. So that's on JC's Eye Candy, right below what you're looking at right now. Okay, again, our rock and roll poll, Miss America pageant. What does that mean to you? Is it cool or is it bogus? Is it somewhere in between? Please answer in the corner. We have results for you on Monday. In the meantime, that's it. The Daily Dose for Friday, January 13th, 2012, a combined venture, Mind Active, in beautiful downtown Clayton. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy those football games on the Golden Gloves and Saturday Night Live, Daniel Radcliffe. In the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.